everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial from the Ogor Mawtribes and the Mortal Realms. Yes, we are back once more with the big kahuna. Yes, we're here with Morga the Mighty. I'm so excited for this one. I think this is an absolutely breathtaking, beautiful model. It's so very, very cool. I like it very, very much. And a massive thank you goes out to Games Workshop for sending me this one early to build up and paint with all of you. And that is exactly what we're going to do starting now. So, she has been primed in Wraithbone. And the colour we're going to be using first is a roughly 2 parts Agrax Earthshade to 1 part Lahmian Medium mix. Now, helpfully, it's actually quite a segmented model, and the top of it is black, so we can start most of our things at the top, and it doesn't really matter too much if we kind of get a little bit of a streaky thing going on towards the top of the thing. We just want to have a nice smooth coat down towards the bottom of the model. So, we're going to start with our thinned down Agrax Earthshade, and we're just going to start here, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the Gluthorn. Just like this sort of thing. So now that Agrax Earthshade is all applied, we're going to work our way up the model. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take a roughly 2 parts Cygor Brown to 1 part Lahmian Medium mix. And we're going to apply this over top of all of the feet. And we're going to do a little bit of blending. So we're going to just get this up to round about the knee. Like that sort of thing. Then we're going to wash the brush, get rid of the water, and then we're just going to fuss at that transition. It's going to be quite a shallow one. Just like that. So with that all done, we now need to start putting that sort of fleshy aspect in that comes from the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, again, a roughly 2 parts Guilliman Flesh to 1 part Lahmian Medium mix. And we're going to bring this down from the middle of the Gluthorn. Like that sort of thing. Then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and then we're going to blend it in. I'm going to do this all the way around the top. So with that all done, coming back the other way, what we want to do is we want to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lahmian Medium and Dreadful Visage. And we're going to blend this from the bottom up into where we've just done. And what this is going to do is it's going to cool off the Agrax Earthshade. It's going to go like that. And then wash the brush, get rid of the water, and we're just going to gently blend where our blends are, like that. And so with that all done, more blending on the way. And this time what we're going to do is we're going to take some Blood Angels Red and we're going to thin this down a lot. So we're going to thin this down sort of roughly 4 parts Lamia Medium to 1 part Blood Angels Red mix. And on the body, we don't need to do this around the head. What we're going to do is we're going to apply a really shallow blend of this, coming down about that far. So we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water. We are going to absorb most of it. We're just going along up to this large strap just here. And of course, we're also doing this over the back as well. And so with that all done, we are now going to take some Berserker Bloodshade. We're not going to thin this down at this point. And we're going to apply this over top of the head. And so with that all done, it's looking a little bit weird, but this is where we're going to now do the sauce. So the next colour we're going to use is a roughly 4 parts Black Legion to 1 part Lamia Medium mix. And this is just to help us improve the flow of the Black Legion. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a really shallow blend over the top of the model. And it's really shallow because we've got this sort of like mottled patterning thing going on as well that kind of acts as the sort of fire break between what we've done and what's yet to come. So we start down here on the tail and we apply this over top of the hair like so. Bring it along like that, and then we wash the brush, touch off the water, and then we give it the good old blends. Like so. just carry this round. So with that all done, it should be starting to make a little bit more sense now. But what we're going to do next is, it's a bit of freehand. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some Abaddon Black. I'm going to thin it down just a little bit more than we would normally, sort of 3 or 4 parts water to 1 part Abaddon Black. And we're going to start adding just these little irregular shapes. Along the blend line, just like that sort of thing. And so with that all done, we now need to create a little glaze of roughly 2 parts Knight-Questor Flesh to 1 part Daemonette Hide. So we want to add a little bit of a kind of fleshy but purplish finish now over the top of the face. So we don't want it to be quite as beet red as it is right now. But we want to leave that kind of red in the recesses. So what we've done is we've taken that mix and we thinned it down roughly 4 or 5 parts water to 1 part each of the paints. So 1 to 1, well 4 to 1 to 1. And we're going to use this now to glaze over the top of the skin around the face. And introduce that new tone that we want. So with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Warpfiend Grey. We're going to thin it down again a little bit more than we would normally. And I'm going to use this to kind of give it a sort of like a glaze over the brightest parts of the face. So with that all done, we're going to come back to the face in just a bit. What we're going to do next is we're going to take some Flayed One Flesh and we're going to do a really gentle dry brush now over the top of our sort of mid-tone. We're going to cover up, or at least go over the top of, the lowest of those Abaddon Black markings to give it the impression that it fades away. With that dry brush all applied, I didn't actually mean to do this, but we did end up doing it over the top of the face as well, because I quite liked the effect. And what we can do now, in order to blend the whole thing together around the face, is we can take some Targor Rageshade and apply this over the top. So with that now done, we're going to do a little bit of a sort of quick way of doing this large sigil on the back of the glut horn. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Mephiston Red and we're going to start stippling this over all the area where the design is going to be. Because we can go back in and put the black in. Not a problem. And with that Mephiston Red stippling done, we then take some Evil Sunz Scarlet and we go over the top. So with that now done, what we can do is we take some Black Legion once again, and we're now going to draw back in the pattern over the top of the red. So we just want to start by around about here doing the first of our sort of orc teeth. That's the best way to describe it. Like so. And then we've got 4 more to do. Like this sort of thing. And then we've got the sort of larger, almost paw print really. We're going to apply, then block in. And so with that all done, we're now going to go back to good old-fashioned Abaddon Black. I'm going to use this to kind of scuff up the edges of everything. Like so. And with that all done, there's a couple of little handprints, or what look like handprints, either side, well, on this side of the glut horn. Can't see the other side, so who knows. So we're going to just quickly jump back to Mephiston Red, and we're just going to draw those in. And then to wrap this section up, what we're going to do is going to take a roughly 3 parts Lamia Medium to 1 part Blood Angels Red. And we're going to apply this over top. Of the red bits. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to start working on the rest of the details on the Gluthorn. So we're going to start with some Black Legion, and we're going to apply this over top of all of the tack, excluding the reins. And with that done, we then take some Skeleton Horde and we apply this over top of the horn and tusks. With that all done, whilst we're waiting for it to dry, our next colour is going to be some Creed Camo. And we're going to apply this over top of that one last remaining rain. And so whilst we wait for that to dry, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lamia Medium and Cygor Brown. We're going to use this to do some blending on the horns, but also to paint in the saddle blanket up there as well. So we're going to take this Cygor Brown mix and just pull it down the horn like that. Wash the brush, touch off the water, then we're going to blend it down. Like so. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And so with that all done, we are then going to take a roughly 2 parts Black Templar to 1 part Lamia Medium mix. I'm going to apply this over top of the green reins. So with that all done, we've actually accomplished a huge amount of the model so far. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually now sort of finish the Gluthorn before we move on to doing Morga herself. So we're going to start by adding some highlights. And the first of these is going to be some thinned down Doombull Brown. I'm going to use this to highlight this midsection of the large horn by just doing lots of little small lines coming along. Here like this. And with that Doombull Brown all applied, we then take some thinned down Morghast Bone and we do the same thing but in the, well, blonder bits. And with that now done, we're going to take a teensy tiny little bit of some thinned down Yriel Yellow. I'm going to apply this in the back corner of the eyes. With that all done, we're then going to take some thinned down Vulcan Green, and we're going to use this to highlight the big green rain. So with that all done, we actually now need quite a stark different colour to sort of separate the tack, the black tack, from the black of the body. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take some thinned down Sotek Green. I'm going to use this to highlight it. With that Sotek Green all applied, we then take some thinned down Storm Vermin Fur, and we use this to highlight the hooves, tail, and tail hair. So with that all done, aside from the metallics, we are now going to move on from the Gluthorn, and we're going to start working on Morga and the rest of the details. So, the colour we're going to be using first here is a roughly 2 parts green camo to 1 part Lamy medium mix. And we're going to apply this over top of Morga's trousers, and we're also going to apply this over top of her cloak as well. The cloak is a little bit darker, but we're using this as our little pre-shade for the colour that's going to go over the top. And with all that Creed camo applied, we are then going to take a roughly 2 parts Dark Angels green to 1 part Lamy medium mix, and we're going to apply this over top of that greatcoat / cloak. And so with that green all applied, we are now going to take a roughly, sorry, there is a lot of this going on, a roughly 2 parts Guilliman Flesh to 1 part Lamy medium mix. And we're going to apply this over top of all of Morga's skin, but we're also going to apply this over top of that hide that's behind her that serves as the backrest to the saddle. And so with that all done, we are now going to take some Gore-Grunta Fur, and we're going to do 2 layers of this. I'm going to apply this over top of Morga's leather. So there's going to be this strap behind the knee, and then there's the sort of braces as well, and there's her sort of strapping over top of her chest. We've also got this large bag back here as well that we're going to do this over the top of as well. So those 2 layers of Gore-Grunta Fur applied, what we're going to do now is we're going to take 2 colours. And we're going to be using them at the same time, and we're also going to be using them in different things. You get the picture. So the 2 colours that we're going to be using are Nuln Oil and Black Templar. What we're going to do is we're going to start with Black Templar on its own, and we're going to apply this over top of the grip of the mace. like so. What we're also going to do with the Black Templar is we're going to apply this over top of the strapping around the mace wrist. But for now, what we're going to do is we're then going to take Nuln Oil. We're going to apply this over top of all the other sort of strapping that's going on around Morga. So we've got these bands on the arms as but one example. There's also ones on the legs. And now we're going to use them at the same time by taking Nuln Oil, and we're going to apply this over top of the entirety of these. I'm just going to call them stirrup horns, like that. Then wash the brush, grab some Black Templar, and then we're going to apply this over the top of the tip of the horn, like that. Wash the brush, jump back to some Nuln Oil, and use that to just smooth out the transition, like so. And the other part we failed to mention is we're going to take that Black Templar and we're going to apply this over the top of the skin. Our next colour is going to be some Blood Angels Red, and we're going to apply this over the top of the helmet tassel and over the top of all of the rope on the back. So with that all done, we now take two colours, Skeleton Horde and Cygor Brown, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of these large tusks going on over here. So we're going to start with Skeleton Horde. We're going to apply this over the top. Like that. Then we're going to wash the brush. Grab some Cygor Brown. Then we're going to go back the other way. Like so. Wash the brush. Grab some Skeleton Horde. And use this to create a blend. Like that. So with that all done, we're now going to take some Agrax Earthshade and we're going to apply this over top of the rock of the hammer. Before we engage in metallics, which is kind of where we're headed next, what we're going to do is we're going to take our little filter of Berserker Bloodshade that's been thinned down with sort of 4 or 5 parts water to 1 part Berserker Bloodshade. And we're going to apply this over top of all of Morga's skin, just to shade it down now. So we don't have to come back to it until later. And begging your pardon, but there is one last little bit to apply some Wyldwood over, which is this little bag here. And then taking some Berserker Bloodshade without any thinning down, I'm going to apply this over top of this intestine. So with that all done, it's now time to head to Metallic Town. And we're going to start with some thinned down Castellax Bronze. We're going to apply this over top of the inside of these dishes, for lack of a better word, over top here, and over the top of the inside of her tummy armor. With that all done, we've got a lot of trim and stuff that we're going to work on that's going to be a different colour, but for now what we're going to do, we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors, which is going to be applied over quite a lot of the model. It's basically all of the sort of non-trimmy bits, of which there are rather a lot of those. And so, with all that Iron Warriors applied, we are now going to take some thinned down Balthazar Gold. I'm going to apply this over top of all our remaining details. With all of those metallics applied, we're now going to shade all of them using some Targor Rageshade. And so with that all done, we are then going to take some Coelia Greenshade and we're going to apply this over the top of the trousers. So with all of our shades now applied, Morga the Mighty is what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. She's looking pretty good. However, we're of course not going to leave her there. No, we're going to take it to the next level. We're going to do this by adding some highlights. Now, first of these is going to be some thinned down Administratum Grey. I just think the easiest way to do this is to try and sort of work our way up the model from sort of here to the top. So, what we're going to do with this Administratum Grey is we're going to use this just to add some little highlights to the stirrup horns. Next up, we're going to take some thinned down Doombull Brown, and we're going to use this to highlight the boots, but we're also going to use this to highlight the darkest parts of the large tusks either side of the saddle. Next up, we're going to take some thinned down Agrax stone, and we're going to now go over the next sort of mid-tone of these horns. Doing the same thing. Next up, it's going to seem a little bit out of sequence, but what we're going to do is we're going to take just a teensy tiny little bit of Black Legion, and we're going to apply this over top of the eyeballs of Morga. With that Black Legion all applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Screaming Skull. I'm going to use this to add the little striations to the brightest part of these large tusks, but we're also going to use this to do a similar thing to these ones on the back up here. Like that sort of thing. And we're also going to use this to pick out Morga's teeth and apply a tiny little dot in the corners of her eyeballs. Hence why we did that Black Legion so early. And then next up we're going to take some Gorthor Brown and we're going to dry brush this over the pelt. And with that Gorthor Brown applied, we then very gently take some Agrax stone and we kind of do a spot highlight dry brush just over the sort of strands of fur. So with that all done, we are now going to take some thinned down War Boss Green. I'm going to use this to highlight the cloak. And so with that all done, we are then going to take some thinned down Strachan Green. I'm going to use this to highlight these bits of cloth up here and to apply a couple of little spot highlights to the cloak. And so with that all done, we are now going to take some thinned down Corax White. I'm going to use this to highlight those little bandages all around him. And so with that all done, we are now going to take some thinned down Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to thin it down just a little bit more than we would normally, sort of 3 or 4 parts water to 1 part Flayed One Flesh. I'm going to use this as a glaze over the top of Morga's skin. And so with that all done, it's now time to highlight up all of our metallics. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take some lead belcher and we're going to do a pretty heavy dry brush over top of these large panels. We're going to kind of do this in a circular motion, so we're kind of not getting that sort of scratchy finish. We want to make this kind of like a sort of quite buffed up silver. And so with that all done, we are now going to take some thinned down Iron Breaker. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our silver. With all of our silver highlighted, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Brass Scorpion. I'm going to use this to relayer all of our Balthazar gold, just avoiding anywhere we've got the lovely recess shading and darkest parts. Whilst we wait for that Brass Scorpion to fully dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Rune Lord Brass, and we're going to use this to highlight the Castellax bronze bits. And with that all done, our Brass Scorpion should be dry now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Canoptech alloy. I'm going to use this to highlight it. And so with all of those metallics now highlighted, it's time to finish off Morga the Mighty with a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Lamia Medium and Flesh Tearers Red. And we're going to apply this over top of the gauntlet here. We're going to do a little blend as well. And there we have it with the base now complete. Morga the Mighty is now finished, and it is quite the journey to get here to this point, but my goodness me, is it worth it. What an absolutely breathtaking mod on. There's a couple of bits of freehand that we didn't actually do. There's some triangles on the back right leg, and there's also some stuff around the main tusk, but I just didn't think it needed it, to be honest. And also just wanted to save a bit of time in the video for your sake as well. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.